Welcome, everybody, to the X Factor podcast today. It is June 11th. I have been gone for like 2 weeks. I know, it's been long. But we are back. We're ready to go. I was on vacation, we're back. If you see my Twitter, X Factor MG5654, I told you I was on vacation. I am back today. We are getting ready to talk about Monday Night Raw. But overall, the last couple weeks of wrestling has been good. Money in the Bank was good. Everything was good. If you see my Money in the Bank predictions, they're on my Twitter. Otherwise, we're just going to get right into it. By the way, Roman Solo versus Usos got a 5-star rating from me. Starting next week, I'm going to be coming out with star ratings. Dave Meltzer 2.0 over here. And we're just going to get right into it. So, the Monday Night Raw last night, I have a lot to take away from the show because there's a lot to talk about. It started off with, a recap, of course, like they always do from last week. And, it's Finn Balor, Finn Balor comes out to the ring and pretty much blames Damian Priest for why he lost and everything, which you could see what happened at Money in the Bank. That is somewhat of what happened, but I'm not blaming Damian Priest for it. He is Money in the Bank. If Finn loses, he can cash in right on Seth if he wanted to, and Finn kind of caused him the chance to cash in last Monday, and Money in the Bank. So, Dom and Rhea came out. Rhea tried talking to Finn, and it got heated. Finn left. They worked things out later on, which we'll talk about. The thing on the Judgment Day, it seems like a lot of things have happened throughout the last couple of weeks. And it makes you think, who is really gonna get kicked out of Judgment Day? Because someone's about to get kicked out at some point. The more I think about it, it's going on Finn because JD McDonough, he's, slowly starting to come into the bit a little bit. And I can also see Damian, he getting kicked out and they had replaced him with JD McDonough. But right now the Judgment Day storyline is, so far, it's been good. They have executed on a lot of the stuff that they have done with, throughout the last year and a half. But that's just my take on it. So, Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle, Drew McIntyre's first match back versus Imperium. And talking about another faction crumbling, with Drew McIntyre and Riddle beating Imperium, what happened with Giovanni Vinci after, we don't know what the hell's going on with them now. All I know is I hope that they don't kick Giovanni out, because I feel like he is underrated part of the group. When he was Giovanni Vinci in NXT, when he started off with that, it looked like he had promise. And then, they brought him up, and now he's Giovanni Vinci, now with Imperium. And I feel like outside of Gunther, he's probably the second best there. Ludwig Kaiser, I feel like he has stuff to prove, but I feel like when he gets his run, his big break, I feel like it would be perfect. But the match they had with Drew McIntyre and Riddle, I thought it was good. I feel like the storyline they got with Drew McIntyre and Gunther is good. Riddle and Gunther, I thought that was good. Riddle has a match with Gunther next week with Imperium barred from ringside. Drew McIntyre will not be there dealing with business stuff, which I think we all know what's happening with that. Business stuff, yeah, my ass. And I just feel like it's just all great stuff there. We're supposed to have Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio, and it didn't really start. Dominic kind of took out Seth early, and then Judgment Day got involved, and then Sammy and Kevin got involved, which we had a segment right before that with Sammy and Kevin and Judgment Day, or with Dom and Rhea, pretty much saying they want a tag title shot. which they do deserve because they did beat Kevin and Sammy a couple months back, so they do earn themselves one. And Rhea saying that Dom has had a lot of cardio from prison, which we all think, he's been around the hood a couple times. Kevin and Sammy's talk after that was pretty funny as well. But it ended in no contest. We ended up getting a 6-man match later on, which there's a couple things to talk about with that. So nothing really much happened there. Zoe Stark and Becky Lynch in a match. It got canceled reportedly during the day yesterday, and then they added back on. I have a couple things to talk about here with this women's division, because lately I have not been enjoying this women's division, Raw or SmackDowns or AEW's. And I watch them and I feel like I'm watching people go in slow-mo a lot of the times. Example, Liv Morgan. I feel like when I'm watching her, she's going at 0.75 speed. When I watch Gigi Dolan, sometimes she feels like she's going at 0.75 speed. But the people when people that work with Gigi, they fix that during the match. Liv, I feel like that's just all she's doing 24/7. A lot of the women's wrestlers on the main roster are not that great. And I even got more to say, because I'm going to put Shayna and Emma into this. Shayna Baszler and Emma had a match. It didn't last long. But Emma, in the little time she's had, she did really well. She's fast, she's physical, and yet they don't do nothing with her. And you can't say that she sucks, because I feel like she's a good competitor. And Shayna, she's one of the best wrestlers right there in Raw. And there's all this, talk about which women's division's better, AEW's or WWE's. Right now, I feel like they're both crumbling just in a short, little stink. And I feel like if this was NXT, they would be getting 15 minutes in a title match. That's what we would be getting out of Shayna and Emma in NXT. And the main problem for the main roster is that they don't give women much time. You noticed with Triple H after Vince left, Triple H took over, the women's division got more time, and it felt smooth, it felt clean. Post WrestleMania, the women's division's been lackluster, in my opinion. Hell, we had Asuka and Charlotte last week, about a week or so ago, and that shit was bad. We're having Asuka and Bianca again this week. And I'm not even hyped for it, because I feel like it's just not going to be that good, because they're not going to give them enough time. And everyone talks about how WWE is always about storylines. They are. They do a lot of stuff in their storylines. With Triple H involved, you notice a rhythm here. He doesn't try to fast forward these storylines. He lets it build up to it gets to their climax of the storyline, and then that's when you start getting to your, get funky like a monkey scenes, where everything goes just crazy. You gotta build stuff up, and Vince does not do that. He hasn't done that in the last couple of years. It feels like you get a pay-per-view for like a month, or like a rivalry for a month, boom, you're out. You notice with Bianca and Bayley, that shit went for like from SummerSlam to like December. And then guess what? They added Becky into it in November, and then that's what added to Becky and them to WrestleMania. That is what... And then now with Trish and Becky, that's going to SummerSlam. So you see a rhythm here. He's taking these storylines, and he's letting them build up. Same thing with Brock and Cody. You have to let them build it up to their climax. And I feel like we're getting the climax of the rivalry here. It's coming on the SummerSlam. It's going to be good. We all know it's going to be good. My problem is that people want everything to be quick, now. But you don't sit there and just enjoy the time you've had just enjoying it. And since WrestleMania, the women's division, the storylines have not been that great. The matches have not been that great. I feel like Ronda and Shayna might be, and between that, and then Bianca, Charlotte, and Asuka, and then Becky and Trish, I feel like those are the only good storylines going into it. And then now they're trying to build something here with Raquel and Rhea, which I am ready for. My problem is that they don't execute properly when it comes to some of those matches, or they don't give women enough time. And I feel like if they would give them enough time, plus you have a 3-hour show. How are you going to have a 3-hour show and have one women's match on the card? Because I'm not even going to count Shayna and Emma, because that was pretty much just a match that set up a segment for Ronda and her. Like, if you want, like, 5-second matches, why don't you do that on fucking, like, dark matches? You don't... TV matches are for TV. Good matches. Good quality matches. And I'm sorry, when it comes to WWE, sometimes we don't get that. It's like a 5-second squash match. Like, who wants to watch that on TV? No one does. I get it for some people, it's to build them up. But if you have them long enough, they can just, instead of like a minute or two, have like 5 minutes. Give them there's your 5 minutes, go. Boom, you're perfectly set. But that's just my gripe about this whole women's division. Zoe Stark and Becky, though, I thought they had a good one. I thought they had a good match. People gripe on Zoe for not, having a good promo style stuff, but she's good in the ring, so it at least fixed was with that. If you're gonna be bad at one thing, you better be good at the other, otherwise you're gonna be screwed. And Zoe Stark is great in the ring. Becky, of course, she's one of the best, so not really much to talk about there. And then we finally got our Alpha Academy graduation for Maxine Dupree. And when I say this, I'm going to say this genuinely. I'm going to be what I really think on this. They put, between Otis and Chad Gable is underrated. Very underrated. He made something look stupid, and what the Alpha Academy looked like at one point, into something really well. And now with Maxine in the picture, it fits the whole. It fixed everything right there. I feel that Chad Gable deserves a big push, his big break after when they get done with the Alpha Academy stuff, because he's the main reason why this whole thing looks good. Otis, he's a big part of it too, but I don't see Otis going after big titles in the future. The way they have Otis set to be, I don't think he's going to be going up for big titles much in a couple of years. Chad Gable, I could see it. And you always see that with tag teams. It's always have that one tag partner that's really well that you could see be big, and then like the other one's like, yeah, they're going to be a star, but they're not going to be as big as the other guy. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. Unless you're like Shawn Michaels and Triple H, they both become the freaking one of the best of all time. It's just one of those things. And this whole Alpha Academy storyline they got with Viking Raiders, they made it look like it's unwatchable to something that's actually really interesting. I am very interested in this storyline with the Viking Raiders and them. It's something that you don't need on a pay-per-view. Sometimes shows need rivalries that you're not going to put on a pay-per-view, but you're just going to put on a weekly show because that's what's going to, build them up kind of thing. And I feel that this is something, fresh for everyone. Viking Raiders, no one really cares about them, which I feel like if they went to NXT, they would, people at least somewhat care. Those are one of those tag teams I feel like that need a NXT rebuild. Example like Corbin, which I can't wait to see what they're going to do with him now. After what I seen last week on NXT, but But overall, this Alpha Academy Chad Gable, he deserves his flowers after everything that he's done for this company over the last couple of years, and he's a really well. He's like the Kurt Angle of this. He's like Kurt Angle when it comes to some of these segments. It just he makes it funny and makes it good, and he's a good professional wrestler. Bottom line. Ronda and Emma we already talked about. The only thing I gotta say about Ronda or the Emma or Shayna and Emma match was after the match with Shayna and Ronda. I feel Ronda, and they try to make Ronda to his babyface, but with how many people that actually don't like her, that's not really gonna go well. It's like you don't know who's the babyface or the heel, which I think is we all know who really did. It's supposed to be Shayna's supposed to be the heel because she's the one who turned on Ronda. But and their promos are not the best. They have a different way of saying things. It's not like it's like they're having an actual argument kind of thing. Which is different. Nobody's seen it before. It's kind of bland to some people. My thing is, when they get to their match, they need to have a fight pit or one of those octagon things that they had with Wardlow and Jake Hager. One of those. Because I feel like that would rule, and that would be a fucking amazing. But I think the best thing is to have a fight pit match. Because with them two, both former MMA style wrestlers, it would be perfect. Other than that, there's nothing really much to talk about. Only thing I gotta add to that. Cody Rhodes, we all knew what he was coming up with. Brock Lesnar. He challenged Brock to another match. And when he said a rubber match, at first I was like, what the hell's a fucking rubber match? And I didn't realize what he meant by, it's pretty much just the last one. Pretty much who's going to be the best out of all of them kind of match. If they're going to have this final match, which we all know they're going to, they need to make this into either dog collar match or a bull rope match. And there's and there's not a lot of rivalries that you need blood, but this rivalry needs blood. We seen it in their first match. We didn't get it in their second match, but with how physical this is gonna be, they need, they need blood. That's one of my things, that they need blood in this. Oh, it's not gonna hurt not to have it, but when you have a storyline that's that physical and that much intensity around it, and Cody Rhodes, he's really made this storyline much more enjoyable with Brock not being there. He's taking Brock not being there and he's like taking advantage of it and he's putting more into it, and that's what I like about it. And Cody Rhodes is one of the best storytellers in the business, in my opinion. That's the only thing I really got about it, is that I feel like if they should have a bull rope match or a dog collar match, it'd be perfect, and they need blood. If we don't get none of those, I'm gonna be a little disappointed, but that's just my thing on it. I also gotta talk about Miz or Logan Paul and Ricochet, which I will get to here in a little bit, because my God, I'm gonna have a little bit of a rant on that. But we have to have Miz versus Tommaso Ciampa in a no disqualification match. One of the things, Ciampa, he's really good on the mic. Really good on the mic, really good in the ring. People that have not seen him before should know that at this point. Or people that, if you've seen him, you should know that he is. But if you haven't, that's something that you should be watching, some of his old NXT stuff. Miz and Ciampa, I feel like they have good chemistry. I feel like the match was really good. Having Bronson Reed in there kind of gave it a swerve, because if you remember back in their Christmas episode about 7 months ago, Bronson Reed helped Miz beat Dexter Lumis. And, well, who does Dexter Lumis have contacts with? Johnny Gargano. Who does Ciampa have contacts with? Johnny Gargano. It's the connections. That's what you got to go with there. I like the match. I feel like it was really good. I feel like it should have been main event, though. But Miz finally gets his first win of the year. He was 0-25 at this point, so he finally gets that one win. So, good stuff. Chelsea Green, Sonya Deville for his Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. And this is just another example of they need more time on the women's division. Because Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, incredible athletes, incredible wrestlers. Chelsea Green, incredible wrestler. Sonya Deville, underrated as fuck. One of the best heel women wrestlers right now in WWE. And they didn't get much time. I like that they're going after the tag titles. We get to see them for Liv Morgan and Raquel again. The match was all right. They didn't get much time, and the thing is like you need time to build up through the match, and that's something we have not seen. And a lot of matches with Triple H with the last year, it's been he builds the storyline throughout the match. And that's pretty much what you go after with. And since WrestleMania, we haven't had that. But our main event, Judgment Day versus Seth, Kevin, and Sammy. I feel like the match is really well. They got a lot of... everyone got involved, which is something you always want to see in a six-man tag. I feel like we get that all the time, though. So it's, the main events are always like six-man tags. So it's like, okay, cool. One thing I do notice is that after... the reports are after there was a little bit of an argument because Seth got cracked in the head or something, and now there was an argument backstage. They weren't thrilled with everything. Hopefully that doesn't involve any freaking receipts happening for someone, or someone not getting pushed, because that'd just be stupid at that point. But Judgment Day ended up with the win. So that just gives them another reason to go after one of them to go after Seth, and two of them to go after Sammy and Kevin. So they make it seem like Judgment Day is all perfect and fine now, which realistically it's not. Rhea Ripley had a stare down with Raquel Rodriguez earlier in the show, which, like I said, we're probably going to get that at SummerSlam. Not going to lie to you. We're probably going to get that at SummerSlam, which I'm going to be hyped for. Raquel is amazing. In my opinion, she is the powerhouse. Besides Rhea Ripley, she's one of the powerhouses of the women's division. So, and the last thing I want to talk about here is Logan Paul and Ricochet. Oh my God, I don't know how else to say this, but I did not. I'm gonna enjoy the match. We're obviously gonna get a match, but I did not. Please don't give them another promo battle like they just. Don't give them much time with promos. In my opinion, it was like two 12-year-olds arguing with each other. That's what it made it seem like. They mentioned Logan Paul's podcast, which who really watches his podcast? Well, that's gonna be stupid. A lot of people watch it, but who wrestling-wise actually watches it when there's not wrestling people on there? It's... And Ricochet, we already know his promos ain't the best, but he's good in the ring, so... Logan Paul making 12-year-old insults. Alright, cool. What else? And then Ricochet trying to recreate the NXT thing, and Logan Paul's reaction. That shit was so cringe, corny, 12-year-old like. It's like, who really gives a shit why you fucking did? It's like, who cares? That's a highlight reel. Come on now. I think the only exciting thing about it was that, Ricochet, Logan Paul calling him unprofessional, and Ricochet pretty much telling him, after 20 years, you shouldn't be calling me unprofessional or whatever, or working his way up. That was probably the best thing from that whole promo that I really got from it. Otherwise, everything else was just so cringe, and, it's like, who really cares? Don't get me wrong, both of them are great athletes, great wrestlers. Don't get me wrong. But when you put them in the promos together, if one of them were really good and one of them weren't, it would be a little better, but to me it was just like two 12-year-olds talking. It didn't excite me at all. But that's pretty much what I got from that. So, that's all I got for you guys today. I'll get into it tomorrow with NXT talk. On Thursday will be Dynamite. Friday we'll get a little mixture of everything in there. Next Monday though, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into a SmackDown, Collision, awards, star ratings for the week. NFL talk will be finally coming onto the show. We're finally gonna get full blown hour and a half, 2 hour episodes coming in next Monday. We're going to be talking about wrestling, like I just said. We're going to be talking about NFL, like I just said. We're probably going to add in a little bit of NBA, a little bit of world stuff in there. We're going to add everything that you want. Go in the comments, give me some hot takes, tell me what you want me to talk about, and I will talk about them in the next episode. Or just at me on Twitter, XFactorMG5654. Up the subscriptions, up the Twitter followers I need. We're gonna, full go with this. So, see y'all tomorrow. Have a good day, and stay blessed, everybody.